Hi guys, in this video we'll be talking about mix management, which is essentially how selection of different SKUs can play a very different impact on our top line and bottom line. In the previous videos, we've seen how selection is a very important criteria that decides how the sales would happen as well as the bottom line. Now, how does that profitability play out mathematically is something that we'll see in this video. Firstly, why is profitability dependent on selection? Profitability is a function of three things, right? As we know about digital business models. The first is unit economics, which is how much money do we make on each transaction. The second is marketing costs, which is costs that we have to incur to get users onto the platform. And the third, of course, is other revenues, which is, for example, ad revenue that Amazon ads generates for the retailer. Now, selection particularly focuses on unit economics, and unit economics is further a variable of the trading margin, which is the input margin that you get. So, for example, a company like HUL might be giving, say, 10% margin on one of its products to its retailers. That is the input margin. But a smaller company, let's say a digital first brand that's just started, may be giving 15% margin to the retailer. That is how from a product mix perspective, that for the retailer, the profitability is different for different SKUs. And the second thing, of course, is the fulfillment cost. Fulfillment cost, which is the cost that the retailer incurs to deliver last mile products to your, as in the shopper's house. Now, the fulfillment cost itself is dependent on the ASP as well as supply chain optimization, which is common for all SKUs. But if you just talk about the ASP as well as the trading margin, both of these are very significantly impacted by product selection. Let's see how that pans out. Now, let's take a universe in which we have a few SKUs to choose from. So I'm just going to go here. We have 5 SKUs with different projected sales as well as different trading margins and ASP, right? So let's say you have packs 1 to 5. Pack 1 with sales of 1,000, trading margin of 10% and an ASP of 50. Pack 2 of sales of 800, margin of 12%, ASP of 100, right down to pack 5, which has projected sales of only 200, but a 20% trading margin and a 200 ASP, right? Now, if you have this, and let's say you have to select only 3 SKUs, right? Let's say as a retailer, because you're optimizing for supply chain, you can only select 3 SKUs, which is a very common problem or a constraint with which retailers operate. Now, let's see how it pans out differently. If you select packs 1 through 3, which is the top selling packs, your total sales of the packs that you've selected will be 2,400, right? But the trading margin on average will only be 12% and the ASP will be 73. A second scenario in which if you select packs 3 through 5, right, your sales are 1,200, but your trading margin now, which is the average of the bottom 3, is 17%, and the ASP is also much higher at 138 rupees. And therefore, if you just compare these two scenarios, so much is changing just on the basis of how you make that selection decision. So in scenario 1, when you selected the top 3 packs, you got sales of 2,400, but a margin of only 12% and an ASP of 73. And in scenario 2, you got the sales of 1,200, but the margin of 17% and ASP of 138, right? Now, which retailer would pick which scenario depends on the business context. So if you have profitability pressures, if you're a retailer that has a lot of profitability pressures because you can't afford to burn cash anymore, then you're going to go for something like a scenario 2. But if you're in your early stages, you're on the growth path and top line is more important for you, you would go for scenario 1. This is how this SKU decisions impact mix very, very significantly. So the next time that you see a retailer making selection choices, saying that, hey, I can't launch this product, or that we need to keep only 8 out of these 10 SKUs, think of it in this context. This is why the retailer is making some of those decisions, either to make space for packs that sell more, alternatively to make space for packs that have higher margin or higher ASP, so that the retailer's unit economics are better. And that really is a big challenge for in the category management job on the retailer side, which is to walk this tightrope and balance sales with profitability. I think that's always a challenge which exists not just for retailers, for brands as well. And in the simulation that we will do next up, we will also be illustrating how those decisions are made and how mathematically your decisions could have an impact on the business top line as well as profitability. Thank you.